Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer. Starting off the last week of the NBA regular season solo, Josh Lander still under the weather. You know, we are all grinding down towards the end of the run here. It is a college basketball final night. That means only 2 games on the NBA slate, but got some good looks for you here in best bets. Also got the player props up for you with 2 more looks there. And I'm bringing you a couple bonus futures here that have to do with the NBA playoffs and with the college basketball scene to a degree here. Like and subscribe. We will be bringing you these videos each and every weekday into the playoffs through the rest of the regular season, of course, as we get Josh back soon. And check out thelines.com. We've got content. We've got Eli, our senior writer, has all the picks you need for the college basketball final tonight. Look for that on YouTube as well as on thelines.com. But let's jump into the best bets here. I mean, the angle I have for sides or totals here is under 231 for the Pistons hosting the Kings. This, you know, despite dropping a tiny bit, is still taking over 90% of the money on the over. So maybe you get it at a better number as you continue to wait here. But kind of a fade of the Kings offense, which has looked really good against 3 teams that don't care. I mean, two tankers, and then the Cavs, who are just dead. They just haven't played any defense since they clinched the 1 seed, basically. Totally fine to just run up and down and treat things like a scrimmage. And so the Kings are now on a back-to-back in Detroit. We've seen the spread grow a little bit from 5.5 to 7 in favor of Detroit with Cade back. Definitely would lean that way if you're looking to take a side as well here. Maybe a money line with Detroit and the under. But yeah, I don't think Cade is quite up to the full powered Cade we saw at points earlier this season. He's only had 1 game back and clearly was rusty there with the 91 offensive rating, 25 points on 24 shot attempts. They might not have Jalen Duren here, the Pistons, and interestingly, their offense just falls off a cliff without him, without his physicality and screening presence. 10 points per game fewer in a 4-game sample this season. Offensive rating down to 104.7. Without Cade in 3 of their last 4, they're only getting 107 a game, struggling to shoot from 3, which is where you usually burn this sack team that's been bad above the break, guarding threes, but has been much better lately in certain defensive areas as they kind of rally to save their play-in chances here. But again, yeah, it's more about pace and about fading the Kings offense. I mean, they play at a pace under 95 on the road since the All-Star break. They're 9-3 to the under. They're shooting 32% from 3 despite actually getting hot against 2 of those tankers. Malik Monk is still MIA. I guess dealing with a lingering illness, whatever. He just hasn't fit in very well here. Not buying the Zach LaVine surge we saw recently. And I think Sabonis could struggle. I mean, struggle in relative terms to put up his 27 points that he's been carrying the offense with. If Duren and Beef Stew are both out there, like the Pistons have been top 10 in everything, basically, since the start of February defensively. Number 8 defensive rating, number 1 fast break points. Kings are also very good getting back in transition, and Pistons very, very limited on the paint points here. They play a little bit slower at home. We do have Keon Ellis to try to slow down Cade, and the last time these teams met, they totaled 227, but Keon only played 14 minutes because he was still behind De'Aaron Fox at that point. So now he gets in there. I think, we see a lower free throw rate than we did in that game. Both these teams have been, that's kind of the Achilles heel for the Detroit defense, but the Kings don't get to the line. So I think we have a choppier game here with the Kings on short rest, and that keeps us under 231. Second look here is head-to-head player props, which are mostly only available on DraftKings, but I'm taking Adembona over 2.5 rebounds more than Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, who might not play tonight, is questionable with the Heat at minus 14.5 against these tanking Sixers. So, I mean, I'm kind of comfortable with the Adembona 7.5 rebounds. You do have to eat some juice there if you want to just bet that if Hero doesn't play, or look at a different angle. But I think he's good for 8 or 9. I mean, that's what we've seen each of the last 3 when he's played without Yabusele, who's not going to play tonight. He is the last man standing. Adembona, he's drawn 19 rebound chances in his last 3 games, and his last 7 since getting called up, averaging 8 rebounds per game. But if you project that out to 36 minutes, 10.5 rebounds per game. And the minutes are rising a little bit as the Sixers just completely, sit even guys like Yabu for rest or personal reasons. So if he gets like 30 plus, 32 plus, which we've seen in the last three here, probably good for 9 to 10 rebounds. I mean, he did have 16 and 10 against Miami and has played 30 minutes per game over his last five games. Hero, I mean, what do we project him for? Probably only 5 boards. That's usually his prop 4.5 or so. He did have 9 against Memphis in a much harder fought game, then sat out the next one. So I mean, how much energy will he really use against the biggest tanker in the East right now? He had an easy 30 the last matchup against the Sixers. 3 rebounds on just 5 rebound chances. Double digit rebound chances went to Ware, Bam, and even Pell Larson. And now we even have Slow Mo playing a much bigger role, and he will handle a lot of the rebounding duties. Overall, Hero is 9th on the Heat in terms of his rebound chance rate. So he's not being tasked with like grab that and start the break. Like he's on the wings a lot. You know, they kind of try to hide him on defense. He's in the corner waiting for one of those bigs to get it so he can then go get the ball and initiate the offense. So that's why I don't think he's going to get a ton of boards here, even though the Sixers offense could be pretty miserable. And I do trust Bona on the boards, but not on the points really, even though he did have 16 against Miami last time out. So that's an early angle there. And then the futures look here. I mean, it's interesting how much value you can get on Jokic to just continue to be the man in the playoffs. Plus 950 for him to be the Western Conference MVP, which, you know, correlates to say plus 1600 for Denver to be in the finals against Boston potentially, the matchup we missed narrowly last year, right? Or 2 years ago when Boston was unable to beat Miami, excuse me. And it was just like, wow, I can't believe we didn't get that. But plus 1600 for Joker to basically take the Nuggets to the finals and then the Celtics to hold serve on the other end. I mean, OKC, obviously the favorite, but Denver can beat them if they wind up in a series. Like, even though they have Hartenstein and Holmgren now, Denver's won 2 of the last 3. OKC has struggled in very, very close games, 1-4 in 3-point games, lost their only overtime game. Denver was 5-0 in overtime before losing that ridiculous one to the Wolves. As much as they've had their issues defensively, like, I think this is a veteran-laden team. It's a relatively deep team in terms of wings right now, and I think Joker is just on a different level. Like, SGA can win that regular season MVP, but Joker in the playoffs has been something else. He's having the best season ever in terms of like all around advanced metrics. So I mean, SGA he deserves the MVP. He will get it in the regular season, but Joker, like Kevin Garnett just said on that podcast, like, he is the new Wilt, and he could just dominate in these playoffs, and they might not have to face OKC. Like, the Lakers or the Warriors could take OKC down legitimately. I still worry about the Thunder finding offense outside SGA in a playoff setting. We just saw that against the Lakers here on Sunday, that SGA did his thing and nobody else could really score against a defense that isn't that impressive. And if the Joker gets the Lakers, he's dominated them. That was with Anthony Davis, so I think he'll have no problem ripping through Jackson Hayes. And yeah, we got bounced by the Warriors a couple of years ago, but a lot has changed since then. I think he understands better how to preserve his energy and how to play. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think the Nuggets will get past the Wolves. That seems to be a bad matchup for them. But it's worth at least a little sprinkle, I think, on Nuggets playoff success one way or another. You want to look at it. And then the other look, because it is college basketball night here, is, you know, kind of a fade of Cooper Flagg actually declaring for the draft. Like, everything leading up to that loss, that Final Four loss, indicates he's definitely going to the league, going number 1. His coach said so. You know, he's basically hedged, saying, like, it'd be an honor to be drafted by the Hornets or Wizards, wherever I'm going. Like, but I think the exact way that Final Four game ended, which coming up short, literally, quite literally, as his team choked a 15-point lead, like a 10-point lead in the last 2 minutes, I that really has to leave a sour taste in your mouth. And if you care a lot more about, you know, sort of the legacy and feeling of playing college basketball, I think you if you're Coop, you might want to return when Duke's going to be an outright title favorite once again. And, you know, you forego a lot of money, but he said before the tournament that he was considering it. So I think he's probably considering it again right now behind closed doors, which leaves the opportunity to get 1,800 on Dylan Harper or 50 to 1 on Ace Bailey to be the number 1 pick. Those are the Rutgers teammates. Ace Bailey originally had a little bit more of a look as a potential number one. Raw athleticism, still needs to fill out his body, but Dylan Harper has since moved up a little bit because he is more of a court vision, of a floor general guy with court vision who can also score. So either one of those, though, would be a fantastic ticket if you're holding it. And Coop happens to surprise everybody by saying, you know what, I'm coming back to Duke. So that's our show here for Monday. Enjoy the college basketball championship. Enjoy these 2 NBA games here tonight. We'll be back Tuesday with a full slate right on through the regular season end and then into the play-in tournament next week. So until we see you next, happy betting.